Hey, stop stressing out. I've got you covered. This video is just for you, all about how to choose your home. Are you a ball of nerves trying to figure out how to make the right choice when it comes to choosing your home? I get it. I help people do this all the time, and I can tell you there are some very handy guidelines that I use with my buyers when they are struggling with making that choice. Hi there, my name is Emily Farber, and I'm a realtor at Leppick Kreger Realtors in Iowa City, Iowa. I spend my days helping buyers and sellers make their next real estate transaction as smooth as possible, and I would love to help you too. In order to do so, make sure you hit the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. That way you'll be notified the next time I put out a new video all about real estate and interesting things happening in the greater Iowa City area. I've got a handy checklist that you can access down below in the description box that will help you make the decision about which house is right for you. Be sure to download it. It's totally free. Before we get too far into this, let's talk about the baseline of where we're going to start. The price. Have you been to the lender and gotten pre-approved? There is no point in falling in love with any house until you are pre-approved and solid on your budget. And just because you have a pre-approval letter up to here doesn't necessarily mean you need to spend up to there. Nobody wants to feel house poor. Make sure you know where the sweet spot is where you are going to have a house that you like, but still have money left over for some of the other fun things in life. The first thing I like to tell my buyers is a handy rule of thumb called the 80-10-10 rule. When you're trying to make a choice about your first home or your next home, it's important to realize there is no such thing as a perfect home, kind of like a perfect spouse. It doesn't happen. You can get close, but if you are holding out for perfection, you are going to be sorely disappointed. The 80-10-10 rule goes like this. When you find a house that meets 80% of what you want, 10% of what you can change, and 10% of what you can live with, you found a good house and you should make a move on it. You might be able to use that for a spouse too. All right, when it comes time to choose that house, it's important to have some guidelines. If you are operating solely out of emotion, you may end up making a mistake. So keep these guides in mind when you're choosing your next house. Location. Location is the one thing that you absolutely cannot change about your property. It doesn't matter how much money or how many gallons of paint you throw at it, the location is going to stay the same. Here are some things to consider when it comes to location. Are you comfortable with the neighborhood? Do you feel safe there? I would suggest you go back to that house several different times, morning, afternoon, evening, and later evening. Just park your car outside the property, sit there, watch, and listen. Do you feel safe? If you don't feel safe in the neighborhood, that's a good indication that that neighborhood may not be the right place for you. This one's for my friends with kiddos. Are you on board with the schools districted to the area? What about the appearance of the neighborhood, the properties that you can see directly from your house, and the neighborhood in general? If the neighbor's house looks like a used car lot or a garbage dump that has exploded out of their doors, you are not going to be able to force that person to clean up their act. If you don't like the looks of the area around you, that's a sign it may not be the right place for you. Is the location convenient to your life? Even though a neighborhood may be awesome and everybody loves it, if it's not a neighborhood that works for jobs, recreation, and shopping, as it works in your life, it may not be the right place for you. Let's talk about the condition of the home. Sometimes you will find a house in a location that you have just been dying to get into, but somebody didn't take good care of the house for quite a while. The condition of the house is important, especially if it's stuff that you can see readily apparent with your eyes, because if you can see problems on the surface, chances are there's additional, more expensive problems that you can't see. So, is the house well cared for? And if it's not, is it priced appropriately for you to make those maintenance improvements that it will need? Of course, there may be things that you want to change about the house. That's fine, but as long as they are mostly cosmetic. We're talking paint, wallpaper, maybe appliances. Cosmetic are things that you could generally handle in a weekend. And I do have to remind you to never skip a professional inspection. Be sure to check out my video right here, all about inspections. Even though the cost of an inspection may be a little, in our area, they tend to be around $600 for a full home inspection, pest and radon inspection. That is actually pocket change when it comes to the cost of repairs in a house over the general time span that somebody lives in it. Okay, let's not forget about amenities. Remember when you first started looking for a house and you told your realtor what your basic needs were? Number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, garage space, what kind of yard you needed for Fido. Those are your basic amenities. Does this house hit all of those things? Just because you found the cutest little house ever in the best neighborhood that you never dreamed you'd be able to live in, if it doesn't have a garage and you swore to God that you were never going to scrape that snow off your car again, I just don't think it's the house for you. That missing garage is going to end up being a major problem once the weather changes. Don't forget to think about the floor plan. Does it flow? Does it work for you? Don't just solely look at square footage, because the same square footage in a couple different houses can feel drastically different. For most people, the kitchen is the heart of the home. How's the kitchen in the house? Is it big enough for you? Does it have enough countertop space? Are there enough cabinets for all of your things? Does it flow well? Do you like the kitchen to be separated off because it's too much pressure to have to clean it every single moment of the day? Or do you prefer more open concept? The kitchen is generally a very costly remodeling project, so make sure that the kitchen at least meets your basic needs. Okay, let's talk about the odds and ends, things that maybe you can kind of gloss over the first time you've looked at a house. By the way, you should always walk through a house at least twice. You'll notice a lot more the second time. Things like closets and storage space. Don't forget that when a seller is putting their house on the market, they do a major edit and get rid of all of their stuff so that they can make the house seem spacious. So much space. Make sure that all of your stuff is gonna fit in. Another thing that can be easy to overlook the first time you've been through the house, especially if you're checking out the house after work and it's a little later in the day, is the daylight. If you crave sunshine and daylight, it just lightens your mood and makes you feel better. Make sure that you go back to that house during the day or on a sunny day to make sure you're going to get the kind of sunshine that's going to lead to the kind of mood that makes you feel better. If you have any questions about real estate in the greater Iowa City area, I'd love to talk to you. Give me a call or a text. Hey, it's been fun. I'll catch you later.